Hi, and welcome to a kind of auto-reverse episode. My name is DJ Ryan Fresh, and I'm your host for this show. For this episode and the next, I'm going to give a very short primer about the history of turntablism. Clearly, there might be some things that I miss, so if I do, it wasn't intentional. I had to sort of cherry-pick the hits, as they were. But don't fret, in a few weeks we'll be going back to our regularly scheduled episodes of Autoverse, so thank you for joining me here. Over the past few months that I've been doing Auto-Reverse, it's dawned on me that there might be some things about DJ culture that needs to be explained, namely the turntablism arm of the subculture. When I first started doing these videos, it definitely came from someone who had been deeply entrenched. Auto-Reverse, however, is growing. Perhaps not at this expeditious rate, but enough for people who didn't come up during the heyday of Bomb Records and Asphodel. For those who miss turntablism, I give you this very short synopsis of the subculture. Part 1.
We want to have a concrete, specific identity, which I think Babu was like the first person to actually even use the word turntables.
I told him that, and he goes, you know what, man, I'm not even going to call myself DJ Babu anymore. I'm just going to be called, like J. Rue calls himself the Damager, I'm going to be called Babu the Turntablist. And that's what it was. It was something I'd write on my mixtapes. It was something I named myself.
So and then all of a sudden it just went, just scattered, you know. He dropped it a few places here and there. Yeah, we're turntablists.
It's arguable that DJ Babu coined the term turntablism, but it certainly has its roots the decades prior. If we were to take this definition as it is, we can go back to the film Wild Style and the scene of Grandmaster Flash cutting in his kitchen as fellow hip-hop legend Fab Five Freddy watches on.
The official adventures of the Great Master.
Flash also has his name attached to an early proto-turntable track, The Adventures of Grandmaster Flash on the Wheels of Steel, a 1981 live recording of Flash mixing via 3 turntables and a mixer. 2 years later, Herbie Hancock would call upon the services of Grand Mixer DXT, later known as DST, to do the lead scratches on his crossover jazz fusion track, Rocket. Those scratches can be tied to being a direct influence to some of the following generation's biggest movers and shakers.
So one day I turned on the TV, I seen Grand Mixer DST.
The first time I heard scratching, really, probably was like Rocket.
I was 11 years old, and I heard Rocket by Herbie Hancock, the DST scratching on it. It was
when I heard, I guess, Rocket. DST was the first one to use that sound. You can gauge a DJ's skills by when they use that sound.
To me, the original turntablist is Grand Mixer DST. Not only was he an integral part of the song and the band, he was like the highlight.
Perhaps not as well known as Flash or DST, but still just as important, would be the mobile DJ crews of the 1980s and 90s. There's a lot to unpack, so let's get to the basics, which luckily for us, Oliver Wong covered in his book, Legions of Boom.
And as a journalist, I got to talk to them about how they got started. And the one thing that I noticed that they all had this common origin story about being part of these mobile crews. And this got me thinking, there were a lot of people writing about kind of the birth of scratching and the birth of turntablism. I didn't see that many people outside of maybe, Davey D up in the Bay Area really talking about the Filipino-American mobile scene. And as both a journalist and a scholar, this seemed to me like a really good story to try to track down.
And that's it for part 1 of this dive into turntablism. If you would like to learn more about turntablism and need a quick study, I highly suggest watching the movie Scratch by Doug Prey, the Battle Sounds documentary by John Carluccio, and the book Legions of Boom by Oliver Wong. All 3 titles I referenced on today's episode. And as per usual, you can find me at these social media platforms. Like this video, comment on it, and feel free to subscribe to the channel. I have a lot more that I'm working on That's beyond auto reverse, though that will still be the priority on this channel. Once again, thank you for tuning in. I'm DJ Ryan Fresh, and I will catch you guys next time. Peace.